Hey everybody, happy Friday. We're doing another doctor series today, and we have Dr. Kojo on with us here, and he is the Vice President of Haladine, and he's also a practicing anesthesiologist, and he looks like he's actually at the hospital right now.
Yeah,
So how's it going today, Dr. Kojo?
very good, very good. A very busy day, but yes, very good.
Yeah, I know there's some exciting times right now with vaccination for COVID-19 just coming
Mhm.
out. Tell us a little bit more about your business, Haladine, and why you started it, and what you plan to do with it.
So thanks for having me, Sam. It's Halodan is something that we basically were confronted to almost doing, right? Because during the first wave, as a practicing anesthesiologist, I happened to find myself in the ICU, and I was one of the COVID team leaders at my hospital. You knew we needed the PPEs, we needed the mask wearing N95s, as you can see, right? N95 is supposed to prevent 95% of viral particles going through. Unfortunately, with all the PPEs and everything I had at my disposal, I still ended up getting sick. And so I'm sitting at home recovering from COVID 19 or going through COVID 19 at the time with the infection. Unfortunately, I learned the news that my wife, my three young kids all get affected with the virus. So we all get sick. And that's when I sort of talked to my colleagues and said, hey, we have this great product that we know we can use to make a huge impact on this deadly pandemic that we don't know when it's going to go away. We don't have any cure. Vaccines may take a while, and then there may be all kinds of issues with the vaccine. So that's when we put our heads together and we came up with Halodine. We use a main ingredient in a hospital that called povidone iodine, which is a very powerful antisepsis. Viruses, bacteria, fungal cannot develop resistance to it, right? Because it works in a way that is not unique or specific, and it just breaks down our cells of viruses or bacteria or fungi. And so we, as you can imagine, in the US, you just cannot get up with an idea. You have to test it and make sure that it works. So we tested out through a US government regulated lab, and by God's grace, we were able to. We came out victorious and proved that Paladine is able to destroy or kill coronavirus, and not just coronavirus, but the flu viruses, the common cold, all these upper respiratory viruses within 15 seconds of use. So that's what we were able to come up with, and it's a great product, great antisepsis. It is the Halodyne is the only antisepsis that has been developed by U.S. medical doctors, made here in America. That is now the only sanitizer, just like we sanitize our hands,
Mm-hmm.
is the only sanitizer that is saved, registered with the US FDA, safe and effective for the nose and or also oral use.
No, I think that's absolutely amazing, and I'm really excited to learn more about it today. Can you tell us, a bit more about like where you're based? I see you're all gowned up and everything, and
Here.
you're at work and you're taking some time to talk to us today. So, tell us, obviously contracting COVID in the very beginning, your whole family,
Yeah,
that's really stressful. So,
yeah.
just tell us, also like how your experience has been at the hospital and a little bit about your day to day.
So I, like you alluded to earlier on during the program, I'm practicing currently in the state of Connecticut in the greater Hartford area. I used to work in the Yale University system and sort of moved to the Hartford area. So that's basically where my practice. I travel all around in the state of Connecticut, but mainly in Connecticut, Hartford area. My experience with COVID, I think during the first wave, there was a lot of panic within the community. And then in the hospital, we were seeing such high volumes, not really knowing how to treat these patients. As you know, COVID, one of the things it does is not only does it affect your lungs, it does causes clot and sort of inflammation in the brain as well,
Mm-hmm.
which is the inflammation in the brain is what causes the strokes. That most people with COVID will have strokes, as you've heard about. They will have some psychiatric problems, anxiety, depression, and it's because they cause these mini strokes through the process of inflammation, as published by a study that came out from Yale University about 2 months ago. So it is the inflammation that uh, uh, um, COVID causes in the brain, which is what leads to lack of oxygen supply to the brain cells. And then people begin to have all these psychiatric problems, right? So we were it was tough during the first wave. People were, even though put on blood thinners to make their blood thin so they don't form clots. And you'll be amazed, Sam, these patients will be on blood thinners and yet they will still be forming clots.
Mm.
So that was scary during the first wave, and then I think over time we got better to some degree in terms of treating this virus. Although we don't have a cure yet, but we are now able to adapt to other medications like the use of steroids, all these antibodies that you've heard about, and so there are other things that have really helped to make the second wave or the third wave in some instances a much better sort of way of caring for patients, because now we kind of know what to expect and we can be very aggressive and get on patients and really treat patients with a really high alert before things really go down like almost like a spiral drain. So currently, it's, as you know, right across the country, a lot of hospitals are almost full to capacity. But I think the idea that more people are aware of it, so patients don't wait until they're really, really sick. These days, patients come in immediately, they begin to show symptoms. So that allows us or gives us the chance to really be able to meet these patients at the right step and be able to hopefully get them above that sort of downward slope where sometimes most of these patients unfortunately succumb to this deadly virus.
Absolutely. And, you brought up a lot of really great points too, and a lot of progress that really has been being made in the past couple weeks here. I'm based in Chicago, and I actually got to see firsthand and speak with people who did have the antibody treatment, and they felt that it was very successful. And obviously that's only for people who are already COVID positive and have underlying health conditions who do qualify for that. And it was interesting to see that. And then also, with the vaccinations coming out today, it's huge. My sister's a doctor in Dallas, and she's getting her vaccination today, and at the VA hospital, which is great. And she's really excited. So, what are your thoughts about the vaccination? I know everybody kind of has, different thoughts regarding that, but do you feel like this is a step in the right direction?
I totally believe that the vaccines will be great. I think one way we really get this virus under control is being able to achieve herd immunity, as you've heard about, which is to have at least 70% of your population immune to the virus. If that happens, then the virus is not going to have room to run from person to person. So the risk of infection will go down, and the global community will be able to come back to life. As a medical doctor, as a person who's had COVID before, my heart bleeds when I when I hear the news and see the many people who are struggling to put food on the table. Being a father of 3 young kids, my heart always aches when I see that parents are struggling to feed their families, right? So vaccine, I do believe that is a great way for us to get back to a meaningful life, or what some consider a new normal. I do believe that the concerns that some patients have are very real, right? Because you have people who have had severe allergic reactions to other medications, who are very concerned about taking a vaccine. We only have 2 months of data with the vaccine. The CDC and most of the news media's outlets have been able to really tell us what some of the side effects of the vaccine. Having said that, people still are a bit apprehensive because to have a vaccine with only 2 months of data, people are worried about it. But in the grand scheme of things, you think about it, we put billions of dollars into this, right? So this is different from having to develop a vaccine through some university lab or some kind of biotech or bio lab and take your time. We put so much energy into it. I think it's important to recognize that if you don't have really severe allergic reactions to medications, getting vaccinated is a great way of really helping us all come out of this dark period that we're in right now.
And have you got your vaccine yet?
I haven't gotten mine yet. My mom is almost 70 years old, and she's going to get vaccinated. But so I called my mom because I remember as a child, I had really severe reactions to medications. So I called my mom and I said, look, talk to me about it, Mom. I know that I've had severe reactions to medications in the past growing up. how were these reactions? And she said it was pretty significant where doctors had to spend days with you.
Mhm.
And so, from that perspective and where I sit, my goal would have been to take the vaccine right away. But because of the severe reactions that have happened that we know of, like the two patients, a few people in the UK that had severe anaphylactic reactions, I'm going to wait a little bit just to get more data as we learn more about those severe reactions. And that's when I sort of looking forward to getting the vaccine. But I do believe it's a great way of getting the whole global community out of this dark period that we're in. And my mom, I've told her, like, you have to get the vaccine immediately it's available to you.
Mhm. Absolutely. And if you can share just, a bit more about, we talk a lot about a sense of normalcy and when we'll get back to that. And there's been many predictions of, perhaps when it's warm out again and April, May, we'll start to see more people vaccinated or more people who qualify for the antibodies.
Mhm.
So just from your own perspective personally, when do you feel like we will get back to some type of a normal where, our Christmases aren't being canceled and we can start being with our loved ones again?
Correct. I, to be honest with you, I think we've learned so much from this virus, right? Now we know more. We used to think it was going to be just one wave, right? No, people did not believe in the second wave, and it came. I held a different opinion that history teaches us a lot. In the Spanish flu, which is 1918, some people, the CDC of the US documented three different waves. So we knew, my team and I, we knew we're going to have multiple waves. In terms of when we get back to meaningful sort of new beginning, I really do believe that next year, Christmas time, going into 2022 is when I do see us going back to some sort of new normal whereby wearing a mask every day will not be a requirement. Whereby when you take your mask off, you're not going to feel guilty because now at that point you hope that a lot of people would have been vaccinated, or most of us, right? So there will be herd immunity. The virus would have been controlled on a large scale. It will not be a pandemic anymore. And if anything, some people have described it to be sort of endemic, right? Meaning like you may find pockets of it around across the globe, but not to the point where it has shut the global community down. So I'm counting on December 2021 to beginning of 2022. I do believe that by then we would have had a lot of people vaccinated, and a lot of people would have, who those who also had the virus, would have developed some sort of immunity on top of even the vaccine, whether they got the vaccine or not. But even if they didn't get the vaccine, you would have hoped that by then there would be a decent number of people who would have sort of gotten some sort of immunity with in addition to the vaccine, and we'll be able to at that point sort of begin to go back, walk around without a mask, be able to hug our loved ones and get together with our friends and our loved ones.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure everyone's really looking forward to that
I
when
know.
it's less crazier times. And
Yep.
so, it seems like you obviously found opportunity during the pandemic to, launch this business and become the vice president. Kind of going back to that, how does that feel, to have kind of saw a way where you could provide a really good tool to people who needed it?
Well, I feel very humbled. As a medical doctor, as a young boy growing up in Africa, Ghana, I never dreamt of being in this situation, right? Um, I think it's important to know that sometimes God will take you through different paths in life, and you don't really know what kind of path you will take. If you think about it, Halodyne was formed by medical doctors from the United States, of which I'm one of them, as you alluded to. Some of my colleagues had done work on the use of the main ingredient in Halodyne back in 2004. And at the time, we didn't know each other, right? But some of these guys were back in Africa, in Sierra Leone, doing work on the use of the main ingredient in Halodyne in preventing eye infections. And so you think about it, that was then. And then COVID happens. At some point, we all go through medical training, we become colleagues. And I get COVID and I assemble the team again. And here we are, bingo. We have now a really great antisepsis, which I do believe not only is it good for COVID prevention, but it's also good for even common cold, the flu. When you think about it, for example, in Japan, they use this same similar product in preventing or reducing the number of viral illnesses during the winter months. So what we came up with was a novel way, essentially, in really combating this deadly virus. What we published a paper in JAMA that was in September 17th, and it was the most downloaded, reviewed, and viewed paper for that week, and also made it the new article of the week in New England Journal of Medicine. Currently, the paper that we published in JAMA is found on the CDC website. So when I trace it back and where I grew up, where I was born, now sitting here in America, I'm very grateful. I'm privileged to be here. As an anesthesiologist, I thought I was just going to medical school. I love caring for people. And growing up as a child, when I would see doctors wearing white coat, I said, yes, I want to be that when I grow up. I love the idea of helping patients, right? I never dreamt, ever thought that today I'll be in the position that I'm in, and be able to come up with be part of a big team, and come up with a product like this that is really helping to save lives. So I'm humbled by it. I believe that Halodyne is a way to go. I don't go out without using Halodyne. I Halodyne in the morning. I Halodyne before I go home to see my family. I Halodyne my kids when they come back from school, sometimes before they go to school. When they get a little snuffle, so common cold, I give them Halodyne and it goes away within 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours, right? I've had so many people come back to me and tell me, Dr. Kojo, thank you so much. And so this is what medicine is about, right? Being able to be selfless and dedicate all these years of hard work and learning to serving humanity. And I'm humbled to have been given the opportunity to do so.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Can you tell us where we can find more out about the product and any more information?
So thank you, Sam. Thanks for having me again. I would say that if you go to halodyne.com, is HALODINE.com, you will be able to get the product. We have many different products. Some for the no, we have one for nasal, or two different products for the nasal use or the nose use, oral rinse and oral spray. There's a lot of research, a lot of data that we have when you go to our website, halodyne.com. You'll be able to not only purchase the product, but you'll be able to learn about our publication in JAMA, the fact that the CDC of the United States have included our paperwork to one of some of the new ways of fighting this deadly pandemic and any other viruses that may come up as well. So halodyne.com is the way to go. You can find everything you need to find.
Thanks, Dr. Kojo. Will you stay safe, and we'll talk with you soon.
Thank you, Sam. You take care and be safe as well.
Okay.
Bye-bye.